G'day, Rubber Kitty here. Okay, so I'm talking about broken trust, the bigger and smaller picture. There's a few things that come into it, and a few things that I've been discussing with my owner and kink family just this week. There's been kerfuffles and all sorts of other stuff going on, but I got to kind of look at it this way. There's sorry, bad connection. Somebody wrote about tops in the BDSM world, dominants that are there, but it's a consent issue all the way around. Now, here's the thing: if you've agreed and negotiated with somebody to do something in particular, and one of those is which to provide feedback, you've effectively broken by not providing accurate feedback, and it was or didn't happen, then effectively broken trust. It's not just on one person's part, it's on both parts, because how can, as a bottom submissive or S-type, how can a D-type trust you to give them accurate feedback and trust you to call it when you are having a difficult time? I don't know what's up with the Wi-Fi at South Bank at the moment. I think it's all the rain. But yeah, I mean, there's that. Now, taking that outside the BDSM sphere, we've had recent issues with the banking institutes. Now, what's happened recently is that they've tightened up a whole lot of lending criteria. This is a knee-jerk reaction, and why this is a bad thing is because there's quite a few people that want to consolidate their loans and their debts and make it better off for them, and this is preventing them from actually consolidating their debts and reducing their payments. And they said, oh my god, lending criteria, oh my god, and they've not done it just for specific loans or whatever. They've done it across the board. It's like a federal thing. Now, this is crap, because anyone who knows, if you've had like a few credit cards, you want to consolidate it into one loan, that makes it much easier to, lower interest rate, less money in repayments, but you're still getting rid of the debt. If they stop you from doing that, then they call that as part of responsible lending. How is that responsible if they're not helping you reduce your debt faster, better, making your life easier? That's a knee-jerk reaction that affects the whole range of things. Now, this is lack of forethought. Now, rather than have a look and scrutinize the people that are actually doing this, the culture and the mentality that sees people want to lend people money that they cannot service, they instead I put this regulation in and restrictions across the board. I don't know how long this is going to be for, but it's a pretty big thing here in Australia, because the big banks have had a thing, kind of like in America with the I don't know what the subprime is, but they lent to people that couldn't afford it. They dodged up documents, and you've got to look at that. So what is the culture there? What got these people? What's attracted these people to be able to do this stuff? What can you correct there, rather than say, okay, that's it, just stop everything, and make it more difficult for people to consolidate their loans and reduce their debt. That's kind of a generic knee-jerk reaction. Now, that's a part of, okay, the trust in the banks have been broken, but is that a way to fix it by having the government step in and go, no, naughty, you've got to do it our way this time, rather than say, okay, there's a problem with the culture in the banks, there's a problem with our culture in general. Responsible lenders, I've known quite a few, and one of them is actually a good mate of mine. He's a mortgage broker, and he's like, yeah, no, I don't think you can afford that. We'll try to help you. They want to sell your product, they want to sell you the loan, but they don't want you to default on it. It doesn't serve them at all. So I guess the whole thing with that is consent is a two-way street. Trust is a two-way street. Now, when you think that your trust has been broken, I also look at the reparation of trust. And I did a go live on this before about how to re-establish broken trust. And like I said, it's a two-way street. You've got to give a little to get a little. It's never just the one thing. You can't just continually judge somebody, because then you don't trust them. And that's fair enough. But then how can they trust you if you're holding back? One person has to take the first step. One person has to do that. So I don't know what's going on with a whole lot of this stuff. All I can see is the overarching bigger issues here, that a lot of people that have said a lot of things and come up with ideas and solutions, they're all stopgap solutions, just like this knee-jerk reaction with the banks. They've not looked at the people involved. Have the people involved also dealt with it at the time? I've had stuff happen. Everyone's had stuff. I don't doubt that I've broken consent with somebody, and unknowingly, knowingly. At the time I didn't give feedback. At the time I thought I was doing something right, but I didn't. And I've gone back and I've apologised and said, okay, well, you know what? Instead of keep on apologising, I'll also go out and do better. I'll learn more. I'll better myself. I'll practice. I'll communicate. I'll be more open. So today, thinking about things that you trust people to do. Sometimes you assume that people will know automatically. They can't read your minds, okay? But the other thing is, it is hard when trust is broken to really get to do that, to re-establish that, and to be able to go out there again. This creates a more insular society. From what I've seen, people hiding or jumping on bandwagons, lynching people, yelling and screaming at each other. It's not helpful, guys. Okay, so, sorry, it's a bit cold at the moment. But anyway, how you can help, take a lot of this as a step back with the issue. Definitely take a step back and have a look at what's going on and who people are that come in, and do they come in all the time on these issues, sort of, and the same sort of issues that happen all over and over and over again, and say the same sort of things. I'd be looking at them as to why they didn't do anything in the first place, or why they, what their narrative is, what they have to gain from it. So, just a bit of ramble here. But yeah, trust, broken confidence, consent, not only in BDSM but in real life. The bigger picture, guys, the bigger picture. There is a bigger picture out there. It's not just that small little echo chamber, okay? So it's decided to rain again, so it might be a rainy weekend, but it's still very lovely. You smell the rain and looking at the beautiful South Bank, okay? See you guys later. And think about that. Think about the bigger picture. Think about what you want to hold on to, and think about ways that you don't know that you've broken trust. And sometimes you just can't make amends for that sort of thing, because sometimes people won't let you, and that's the thing. You shouldn't really have to forgive somebody that doesn't really want forgiveness, and you shouldn't have to continually be punished and persecuted for something when you've tried to make amends and they've just gone on and refused to accept that, because they're not really processing it. So it's not victim blaming or anything, it's just the way life is. And if you feel like you've done everything you could, in all honesty, like deep down in your heart, then there's not much else you can do. Okay, love you guys, definitely. I'll see you again tomorrow.